gotta be a fucking Bostonian of some kind.
Man, this is blurry. Why are you blurry? There we go. That's better. That's better. Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Shoot. Is there somebody out there? Can you hear me? Is the microphone working? All right. Let's see. Oh, apparently it's just me. Hey, babe, would you log in and see if you can hear me?
Who are you talking to?
You. Just for a second.
Where at? On YouTube?
Yeah, zombie kebab. Can you hear me?
I'm listening.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, you're fine.
Yay. Yay. Wonder what that's from. Hello. Is these things still connected? Hello, hello.
There's me and Beth roll in the background. What mic are you using?
My laptops.
Oh, stop.
I don't know what that noise is. I don't know what that noise is. I don't know what that noise is. What that noise is. What that noise is.
What are you using to record with?
My laptop.
You don't have any other device on YouTube right now?
Well, I got this one.
What? No, that's what's doing it. If you're on YouTube with two devices right next to each other, it's going to do this. It's going to bounce back. It's going to create feedback and stuff.
Howdy, people.
Why is Mary circling? Well, it looked like Mary.
Hey, Migs. What you up to today? Is it still making that high-pitched noise? You heard your voice. He's all good. Yeah, I feel the same. After that stream last night kept us up way later than I'm used to. But it was fun having them pick us apart. I'm glad you could join me. I really don't know how to be entertaining. That's why most of my channel is just speed draws. Now, what I'm working on here, I don't know if you're a card collector or not. It's Perna Studios. It's a company I've worked with for several years now. This was a card commission. This is one of my AP cards. A fellow wanted a Bigfoot, and it's guy wanted a Bigfoot. That's for the Creatures of Myth and Legend series. I also did one called Deer Woman. I did classic fairy tales, so he wanted a Little Red Riding Hood and a Beauty and the Beast also. So I'm depending on how well this goes, I might get to those too. Thank you. Apparently it's one of the things I'm good at, from what people tell me. I don't know. I don't trust myself in a lot of things. Thought it would be fun to stream today because it's just a lazy, hazy Sunday. And I haven't ever streamed on YouTube. Yeah, I used to collect them back in the 90s too. Never got into the card aspects as much as just straight out comics. I've been collecting comics since I was 8. Oh, that's longer than I care to admit right there. I wanted to be a comic artist my whole life. And I play with it here and there, but I'm never satisfied with anything I draw. I collected sports cards for maybe a whole week in 5th grade. My dad was big in sports. Me personally, I didn't get it. Now, I liked playing them. I'd get out with the guys on the playground and I'd play football and soccer and things like that. But I couldn't understand the fun of watching it on TV. I mean, it's the comics I can relate to. That's actually what taught me how to read when I was a kid. Big old thank you to the Ninja Turtles for that, because that's what I collected mostly back then. Still do, actually. When I can. Most of our comic shops around here have closed up. And that was well before COVID. Lucky. The only one that I have a suspicion that closed due to the current circumstances was my regular place, the one that I go and play Dungeons and Dragons at, the one I bought all my comics from. I just recently found out that they had shut down permanently. And I had been going to that guy since 94. That was my extended family there. I can understand. Has Diamond even started pushing new series yet? Because in all honesty, I think most of what I read now is on Webtoon. And what I buy at cons when we go. From what I understand, they've always been a mess to order from. It's just gotten really bad lately. I think they pretty much have the monopoly, because I can't even think off the top of my head of any other distributors. There used to be one. What was it? There was another one back in the 90s, and somebody bought them out, and then it ended up failing. I don't know. That was a long, long time ago. Shush. Do you draw at all? I can't remember. Well, thank you. Why'd you stop? Well, thank you. I've always liked drawing small. Even my comic pages, when I draw comics, are on a smaller size, like a, what size is this? It's like a 8.5 by 14. I don't know if you can see. Oh, I'm sorry, man. That's rough. And mine separated, but it was much later when I was already out of the house, and they split after 36 years of marriage. Ours, I guess, was a little bit more awkward because we didn't move a lot. And Dad, he was originally out of Colorado, and he didn't have any family over there left to go back to, so he kind of stayed on the family property, which caused some craziness to go down, I guess you could say, because that's where all my mom's side of the family lived. Hopefully you're not going through such a hard time now, I hope. You should. It's great therapy, I think. You can just sit there, you focus on what you're doing, what you're trying to convey in your image. You can just forget the world around you for a short time. Sometimes a long time, depending on how involved you get. Good. I'm glad things are going better for you guys. Hope there's no bad feelings and all that mess still lingering. Sometimes that's all you can do. So what do you do for fun now that you're not pursuing art like you used to? Oh, we have a third person. Hello, third person. Oh, and they're gone. Oh, comics are fun. I like to go back and reread some of them here and there. I need to get my collection out of storage. Make sure everything's okay. Haven't done that in over a year, and I'm concerned. Yeah. At work, my coworker came across a whole bunch of animation cells, and she's a lot younger than me, and they were from cartoons that I grew up watching. And she's like, hey, do you know what these are? She goes, I've never seen anything like these before. And I started looking at her. I'm like, girl, are you crazy? I was like, she had some of the old original Ewoks cartoon. She had the real Ghostbusters. She had just all the old school cartoons.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Can't turn it on.
Now everything's done on the computer now. I actually went to college for that briefly. I was one of those kids that had 1,000,001 hobbies. I still do. And I had 1,000,001 careers that I wanted to study for. And animation was one of them. That was a fun little course. Unfortunately, the college I went to or university I went to didn't offer more than just a very simple basic class that just covered the different styles but didn't really teach you much more, you know. I remember it was hilarious though, because we did a unit on claymation, and she divided us all into groups, and we all helped to design and film our own claymation using that cheesy oily kids clay that you get. It's not Play-Doh, it's the stuff that never hardens. I can't think of what it's called. And oh god, it was hilarious the stuff people came up with. Ours was basically a cowboy that went on a shroom trip. I wish I still had that stuff. I play around with it from time to time now. There's a freeware program called Blender for 3D modeling, and you can build your own games with it. You can make your own animated movies. I think somebody designed elements for one of the Assassin's Creed's game using it. It was a lot of fun. What color do you think I should make the sky? Yeah. Thing is, do we want a sunset with oranges and purples? Or I was halfway thinking, since he's deep in the forest, maybe a green palette, the gradient from dark to light. Then there's the standard blue. I use that one a lot, though. Let's see if I can find examples.
Hey, Mom.
Like, for instance,
I was doing.
I did the gradient in the background on this one. I think that was the best example I have of the blue background. But that's all. That one's also going to the same guy, so I don't want to kind of give him the same thing. Let's see. See, I got this camera makes the colors look a little bit darker than what they actually are. There's that. Yeah, that came out real dark. That one's actually a lighter. Mm-hmm. Add these colors here, maybe. Maybe with a little pink in there.
No, no.
When I do a lot of marker work, I keep a piece of scratch card like this to test out my colors. Sometimes the caps just aren't as accurate. Haven't had too much of a problem with that with like the Copic markers. Prisma's really guilty of it. And then a lot of your generic ones are extremely guilty of that. The Winsor Newtons are pretty darn close too. Like, that one's tea green. I like these a lot. You see, it's a nice little soft shade of mint green. Let's see, and I got purples. I don't have as many purples as I do other colors. Sorry, this is the boring part of the segment because I'm so indecisive on my backgrounds usually. That one's acting a little dry, isn't he? I started with Copics, and they are my absolute favorite, but they are kind of hard to come by in our area. Also expensive. That purple's kind of neat. And usually, from my experience, the Copics, the Prismas, and the Winsor Newtons will work pretty good together. But like these are the Winsor Newton Pro marks. My webcam is making everything backwards. It really depends on what you're doing. Like small little cards. I've had a fairly good use out of these Copic Chow markers, and I'm not even know if I'm saying that correctly. But you know, and these are supposed to be.
Who in the world wants that?
I guess their version of a student grade. It doesn't hold as much ink. But I've had a fairly good lifespan out of them, and they're a little bit cheaper. If you couldn't tell by my blue stickers, I caught a lot of them on clearance too. I tend to stick with the brush tips more than anything. I have these, and if that tells you how long these will last, I've had most of these big square bullet tip ones since I first started getting into markers. And I guess, how long do you think that was, Kevin? 10 years ago?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. I think so.
It's 3:11 p.m.
So yeah, roughly about 10 years on these. And that's mainly because I don't use them very often.
I didn't have
But those were my first sets. And those are from the first sets that I ever bought. And I bought them off of eBay. These here, depending on which colors, because there are some colors that are my absolute go-tos. And I love using them. And that ranges from like those blues I just showed you to there's a few shades of pink, red that I really like that I'll go through really fast. And so they don't usually last very long because I'll use them on everything. Yeah, Kevin. Yeah, they are. But you find some cheaper grade ones that you like too. Like, I can't remember how much these cost, but I think these were a lot cheaper than Copics. And these are pretty good. I don't have very many of these though, because I can't find them here locally. And I haven't really gone looking online for them. But this one, the color, the brush tip, I think these are a good option for Copics, and they're like $1 or $2 cheaper, I think. I don't like the Artist Loft ones. They are terrible. Like, where is he? I had the Artist Loft one. I may have already purged him from my collection up here. The Blick ones, Blick came out with their own version too. And, well, you can see on that nib, see that? I don't know if... See that weird buildup there? I don't even know what that is. And the color's okay, but I am not a fan of the shape, not a fan. I mean, they're serviceable. They're just not really that great. What else was... Trying to think of what other kinds I've used. I've used several over the ages. Oh, yep, I found him. There's my Artist Loft. And look at the nib on that guy. And I haven't had these that long. They just, that brush tip started. You ever use a brush and you know how the bristles just kind of start splaying out like this? And that's kind of what this thing is doing. It's doesn't have that nice sharp tip to it anymore. And I
don't have it anymore.
I may have used it a total of 3 times, 4 times. Yeah, well, it looks like I've used it heavily, but I honestly didn't use those all that much at all. But that's also the great thing about Copics, because when you start seeing some wear on the tips, which I really haven't ever had that issue out of them, you can replace the nibs on them. And so thus ends our Copic tutorial. whatever you want to call it. Yeah, apparently I bumped my camera somewhere during that mess. There we go. I don't know about that. I think I'm pretty much just stating what everybody else already knows. Most everybody already knows. Oh, yep, I found another one. Oh, no, that's another blick. Let's see. Trees, trees, trees. If we had enough people in here, I'd have people vote on the background. All right, Kevy Levy. Which color palette do you like for the background? I have the shades of like turquoisey blue. I've got this like sunset color palette here. And I got this purple palette.
I kind of dig purple.
Kind of dig the purple. So that's one vote for purple.
I don't get freaked out.
No. Okay, I did find the downside to the really old Copics. All right, let's see if it'll do it again. Oh, no, of course not. Won't do it on camera. When I pulled my top off, this piece popped off with it. I don't know if that actually, I don't even think that goes up. Yeah, so that wouldn't even hurt the marker at all. It'd just be a mystery color because it's not even attached to the upper part of the lid. Now this one, like I said, these square ones are roughly about 10 years old. You can see some heavy usage on that chisel tip there. Okay, so purple background it is. Come on. Oh, this is why I wanted to use my phone. My phone has a lot better camera on him. This one has gone fuzzy on me. There we go. Kind of hoping Jeremiah Jones would pop in. He was nice enough to share my post. Do I have a lighter shade? No, because that was dead to the world. Oh, thank you, Mix. It was just kind of an impromptu thing I thought would be fun. I wanted to test it out. I haven't been on the YouTube. There we go. Haven't been on the YouTube very much. Frankly, I didn't think I'd be brave enough to do this. I've gone live on my Facebook art page a couple of times. Mostly I'm just a big old chicken. That's all it boils down to. Thank you. Well, I'm wanting to grow. And if I'm going to grow, I need to break out of this funk I've been in. And try new things. It's like this is the first commission I've taken. God, I don't know how long. There was a bad experience with a client that I had. It wasn't one of my regular ones. And it just kind of bummed me out. I didn't want to. Shoot, I almost thought about giving it up altogether just because it just really got to me. I had resigned myself because I had a whole bunch of AP cards from Marvel sets and other Perna sets. And there's this one set that I did that was a little bit more risque called Women of the Wasteland that I did. And I had some of those already pre-drawn. And I was like, well, I still got these. I'm going to put them up. If people want them, I'll blow those out and then I'll be done. I might do something on the convention circuit, and that would be it. And then one of my regulars popped up. He saw the Women of the Wasteland card I did, and he's like, hey, you got commissions? You got cards? And I was like, oh, come on, dude, please. And he's like, I want this, and this. And he got the one I had pre-drawn plus 4 of these. He's a big Perna Studios collector. And I had Yeah, he's a cool, really easy, laid back kind of guy. And I told him it might take me longer to get these done. Just from nerves mainly, I think. And he's just cool with it. I'll send him some sketches to choose from, and he's like, "What's your favorite?" And I'm like, "Dude, these are for you. You need to choose." He's like, "I just want to go with what you think is best." And I'm like, "I don't know." See, I made this one. Didn't finish that tree. And my microphones are missing. I say that I'm a big old chicken, yet I'm still brave enough to let Mike and them look at my work and let you guys judge me on the draw alongs and stuff. I think my brain's insane. Did what? Sorry, Megs, I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Yeah, last night he did it. I don't have it with me, and I don't know how good the picture on my phone will show up on camera. This was from a set I did last year. Yeah, all I got is photos of it now. Somebody is currently trying to sell this one on eBay. They pulled it in one of their packs, and I let them pick this one apart because I was trying to show them some of my best. And this was one of my best from last October. And one of my favorites too, actually. And yeah, there's a whole bunch from that. Was a fun set. It's like I got my werewolf dude. And then crazy zombie crawling from her grave. And that one, it was Inktober. So we had to do all of them using ink washes. And I gotta admit, they were very gentle with me, and I appreciate it very much. I might submit a bigger piece to them one day. One day. Let's see. Trying to figure out what I'm doing with my tree here. No, I don't think he really. I don't know what you mean because I'm not really anybody. Um, I use Zombie Kebab for all my social media now, or at least I try to, because I'm trying to brand, I guess is what it's called. I mean, for the most part, I don't consider myself a professional. And like I said, I'm not really certain what you mean there, but
I think he wants to know if Mike knows who you are.
like,
Related to me.
oh, I don't know. I don't think it should matter, really. I mean,
Yeah, but just as far as our circle stuff, like with Elliot yesterday, getting all worked up.
I wasn't going to bring that up, but
Well, I wasn't either. I mean, I'm not saying anything wrong. I'm just saying that it's funny to watch him get mad or irritated.
I think the sun is coming in and messing with my lighting. What? Oh, welcome back, Meeks. Shush, puppies. Shush. Now, as far as all that goes, I kind of think of it like I hang out with you guys mostly in the chat, you know? So I feel like, think of it like Thanksgiving. Mike and Kevin and everybody, they're at the big adult table. And me, I feel like I'm more suited to the kids' table. It's kind of like that at conventions too. They're there to see Kevin. I am the gopher, and sometimes I'll put up a little sign. Sometimes it'll be funny, like we'll work for food or something like that, and offer to color people's stuff because, like I said earlier, people seem to like my colors on stuff, and so I'll put like we'll color for food, or you know, we'll color, ask about price, depending on piece, and I'll end up coloring other artist stuff, not just Kevin or not just my own artwork, and that's been kind of entertaining because some of the piece, there's this one fella at a North Carolina show we go to, and he has got some fairly big name stuff, and I got to color that, and I'm like, dude, are you sure you want me to touch this? And he seemed really tickled, so I colored it for him. What was it? We got a real chuckle because I colored an Andy Smith piece. And the one I think I had some of the most fun on, though, that I wasn't a nervous wreck about ruining, was DC did like a coloring book cover for a Wonder Woman, and it was a Finch cover, wasn't it? I think it was.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
And I colored that one, and I really tickled myself on that. A lot of times when I go on Drawn and Quartered and stuff like that, I'm there to watch and to troll Kevin too. So yeah, I think I have it posted on my Facebook art page. If you ever wanted to take a gander at it, that's at facebook.com/zombie kebab. And like I said, I went through one day and I changed all my social medias to match to make it easier on people. And I think I got it posted on there. I like poking the bear. I like poking Kevin sometimes. And I was sad to miss the brown eye of Sauron. That one, that was perfect, guys. I don't know which one of y'all came up with that, but that was perfect. And he's so mad at me because I giggled so hard at that. Love you, honey.
Yes. Love you too.
And I think my second favorite on there, I think, is Peanut Butter Boy Weldon. I'm terrible with names, but I really liked how he drew Kevin's character. All of them are funny. What was it? Edwin. Edwin had some real good zingers the other night. I think that the last drawn and quartered that Kevin was on. Now, I don't think I've ever been as entertained in a drawing stream as I have been with Mike's streams. I've been to some and they've been absolutely cringy. Not going to name names, but I'm just, yeah, the art was great. Oh, you hear a bird? Probably. I got a pigeon and I got a parakeet beside of me. My son worked at a pet shop for a brief period, and they gifted him a a pair of pigeons. There we go, a male and a female. And after many, many, many months, they finally had a baby. And that's probably who you heard, because the baby is more social out of all of them. And he comes running up to the edge of the cage and he'll coo at me or fuss at me, usually fuss at me. Like the parents, you can't even handle them. I suspect that's why they gave them to my son, because they wouldn't be able to sell them. But our little potato, that's what he ended up naming him. He likes being handled, and he's perfectly happy to sit on your lap. But he's got to get his big boy street cred in, and he'll try to peck at your hand when you're petting him. Yeah, I like birds. Didn't think I would. You know, growing up, we raised chickens and ducks and turkeys, and didn't think I'd like a pet bird. Yeah, that's... I want to see the hedgehog from last night. I'm dying to see the hedgehog. I don't know if you were there at all. I don't remember seeing your name in the chat, but apparently there was a hedgehog running in the wheel of the background of somebody's setup, and everybody was like, "We want to see it," and he would never let us see it. I don't know if that sunlight is messing up our lighting or what. Has it been busy? What do you do, if you don't mind me asking? Running out of things to chit chat about. Oh, okay, okay. It's not important. It's just a curiosity. I don't want you to be uncomfortable. Um, yeah. Um, to be honest, I never see any of the sketch cards around our area, or any of the sets that I've ever worked on. I've never seen them sold in my area. So I'm not even certain where you get them, because I work for Cryptozoic. I did a Rick and Morty season 3 set. I did the DC Comics Bombshell set. And I looked, and I could never find any of the packs of cards anywhere around here. I worked on the Thor Dark World set. Didn't see anybody selling those cards when the movie was out. So I know people are getting them, because every great once in a while when I get bored at work, I'll eBay my name just to see where my cards have gone to and what people are getting out of them, because sometimes, you just get curious. And because that makes me sound like a great big old huge narcissist, doesn't it? But I know people are getting them from doing that, but I have no clue where they're finding them. I know these Perna sets, they're like a mom and pop company, and they sell everything off of their Facebook page. And they're one of the more popular companies, mom and pop companies, I think I've ever worked for. They sell out usually within about 3 hours of listing their sets for sale. And they have some amazing talent working for them for the base sets. But yeah, I mean, pretty much all we see around here are the sports cards, I would say.
said nuts, boy.
What is going on? And I'm part of a group on Facebook called Sketch Card Fanatics. And it's a place for the artists and collectors alike. And I see all the different sets that other artists are working on. Like one dude got lucky and got to do the Ninja Turtle set. I would have killed to be on that set. And again, I would have also liked to have purchased at least one pack of the cards myself just to have, and I couldn't find them anywhere. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Around here, all we see are the sports cards, some Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering. But I think since our, I guess, comic shops or whatever closed down, that those were the only other place I could think to go looking for them other than online. And I know at least one or two of those sets I worked on were game cards like Yu-Gi-Oh, except it was the Marvel game. But I don't see those anywhere except at conventions. If which makes this even more funnier that I do trading cards, because I don't play card games either. I did used to collect a few Magic cards here and there, just because mainly I like the artwork on them. And well, mine are chase cards. So I'll draw, say, somewhere between 25 and 70 for a set. I think the most I ever did, I think I did 100, but I can't remember if that was on the same set or split between two. And they're directly inserted into packs. Like, I think I got a base card left. Well, it's not a base card, but it's a AP card. Because, in all honesty, a lot of these collectors, they pump out the Marvel stuff so much that I can't really sell the AP cards. See, I got a massive ton of these things. I'm going through them. Sorry. So essentially what I'm saying is you get my original art in the pack when you get it. Or when you buy a pack, if you get the chase card. The Pernas, they insert a sketch card in every pack, but their packs are, I guess, geared towards more of the collectors, not just something you'd see in the store and go, oh, look, that looks cool, and pick it up. Their packs are, I want to say, usually run about $20 for a pack. But I do have, like, here's an example. Like, here's the back. I did the Firefly Burst set, and it's all backwards, so I don't know how much that's going to help you. But, like, if you look, it's 1 of 1, artist signature, hand-drawn card, and up here in the corner it says AP. That means artist proof. And these are the cards that they give us to sell on our own. And this is what they look like. And then you just do your doodle in here. And then you can list them. Now, there's what's called the base set. And that's like, if you collect them in the 90s, you remember them. And they were just the mass printed cards. Those artists get paid significantly more. And they actually draw theirs, I guess, roughly this size. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, so it's maybe a card and a half bigger, roughly. And they'll scan that artwork and they get to keep their originals. But me, all mine are original art. They're inserted directly into the packs. Yeah, and like, you're not going to get that big card. That's just, it's like drawing a comic book, and you draw the pages 11 by 17, and then it's shrunk down to 8 by 10 and a half-ish. And so, you know, that allows them to do the prettier cards. Like, yeah, here's one from I can't pronounce his first name, Guerrero. And this is the base card art that he drew. And I don't know how big he drew his at to be able to get that detail. Gorgeous. I'm a huge fan of that type.
Winter.
I've only done like one base card. And I didn't know it was going to be a base card. I do a set for charity once a year. And that's for Island Dreams. And he'll come up with a theme. And like this year, I just finished them up. They went on sale, I guess. I guess they went on sale, I guess, about a month ago, give or take. And this was the one I did a base card for, was a previous set. And what he does for this charity set is he'll go through and he'll pick some of the sketch cards and turn those into his base card set. And he'll tell the artist, of course, that he's doing it. But that's usually after we've done our sketch cards and submitted them. And he'll pick from those to do specials from. And he made one of mine into his base card and then also inserted the original as a chase card. So that was pretty cool. I didn't ever see that one hit eBay, so I'm assuming the person that got it kept it for themselves, or that sun's making my lighting all kinds of wonky. So I'm assuming that he kept it for himself, or he may have sold it at a trade show or something of that nature. And that guy, he actually did some neat promotional stuff. Like it wasn't just original art chase cards in his sets. He also took one of mine from another set that I did. And turned it into a can koozie. So in your pack of trading cards, you would get a can koozie with artwork on it as well. And I thought that was pretty neat, but I wish he would have made those available, you know, hit the artist up and told her, hey, you want one? And send them to us, because I would have loved to have a can koozie. I think that when he was doing oh, shoot. I can't remember what the set theme was. That one's been a minute too. All I remember was that it was hilarious. And he liked it enough to put it on his koozies. Me and I think there was like 5 or 10 other artists that he selected for that. I appreciate that, Migs. And sometimes I just like to know how far stuff goes, you know. So it's interesting when they do decide to resell. That way I can see what part of the world that it's in. What was it? There was one guy, actually a couple of guys in Australia that got cards off of me. I think they pulled one in a set and then hit me up on Facebook for commissions for AP cards. And that was interesting, because shipping on a card, even just a little tiny card like this, that far was, I thought, was insane. Another thing about looking myself up on eBay, it's interesting to see what people think you're worth, you know. Here lately, I've been seeing my cards pop up on eBay for crazy money. Like one guy has one of mine listed for $200. Another guy has one listed for $150. And that Halloween set that I showed you, that I told you that I sent Mike to criticize, or critique rather, not criticize. God, that sounds awful. One dude has one of mine up there for $500. But it's a little bit of an ego boost, I guess, when people think that you're worth $500 for your little bitty card. The only one I actually saw that sold for crazy money like that.
I'm not running out to McDonald's before.
But sorry. Probably the only one that I've seen sell for crazy money, and I don't know any real details about it, was one of the Marvel sets I drew a Thanos for with the Infinity Gauntlet. And somebody got $285 out of that one. And that was probably the first one I've ever seen where they asked and got crazy money for it.
Mommy!
Oh, here we go. Some artists get that crazy money on a regular basis. And looking at their art, they totally deserve it. I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying some of these guys get crazy mad money for their cards. And I'd like to know, I'd like to figure out a technique to make myself better to get that.
I told you about that. Go get it. I love you, sweetie, but we've been over this.
For the longest time, when I sold APs when I first started out, which admittedly I'm a lot better now than I was when I first got into the card stuff. I was maybe charging people $20 for a card. Yeah, I'd custom draw it for them, their character of their choice. And frankly, on the Marvel stuff, like I said, for some odd reason, they're not as big as sellers in the community. I don't know, maybe I was just promoting them in the wrong places, but I still don't get much more than that for a Marvel card. My Perna cards, when I sell those, I don't know what I can do about that light. My Perna cards, however, I'll usually get, I think my going rate on those is roughly $50, and on the really high end, $100 for those. Maybe I think it maybe 150. I think was my highest I've ever sold personally, and that was for a really super rare AP because they came out with this really rare chase card set that was metal. It was metal back, and then it had the paper on top. And those were really cool and really nice to draw on too.
On.
Yeah, and I get that for the Perna cards. And they're, frankly, I think the Pernas are a lot more fun to draw than the, and I hate to say it, the licensed cards. With the licensed cards, you get fun characters to draw, but there is so many hoops to jump through. Like towards the end of my time with Upper Deck, I was getting something like a 3-page list of characters I wasn't allowed to draw, and I'm like, that pretty much covers everybody. Who's left, you know? And it was all due to that complicated movie deals and stuff like that. Like, we weren't allowed to draw a lot of the characters that were in the movies unless the cards were specific for that movie, and even then it was questionable. The set here, No, there wasn't a lot of freedom with those. No, no. Cards like this one, they give you a theme, and they'll give you a list of creatures like this one. This one had Bigfoot. It had creatures from all around the globe. There was Asian creatures, you know, from their folklore. There was a lot of American creatures from their folklore, Native American creatures. I mean, all around the globe. And it was left up to you to interpret them. And I thought that was pretty cool. And it's a lot of fun. The fairy tales, they'll give you a list of the fairy tales that they're looking for as example on the card set. And it's up to you to interpret their look. Their only rules were none of those, and I doubt I'm pronouncing it correctly, the chitties style characters. No direct Disney characters, obviously. No nudity. And that was basically it. The rest is left to us. And they are so nice to work for. They are so easy to talk to. Unlike the other guys, the corporate guys, I guess you could say, their communication is a lot simpler and easier. More talk or less talking, more drawing. Yay! I finally get one of those words right. I'm terrible at pronouncing things, even in English. Uh-oh. I'm not going to be shut down now. Hope not. That's my ringtone. I lost track of what I was saying. But yeah, I have a rough time pronouncing a lot of things correctly, unfortunately. Names especially. I think that might be one of the reasons why I stopped streaming on Facebook, is because I mispronounced somebody's name and they didn't seem mad about it. Yes. Yes, you should know that, Rick. Actually changed it from the Ninja Turtle shell cell ringtone from the cartoon. And the notification, I don't know if you heard the notification, that's actually from one of my favorite video games. Oh yeah, don't you hate it? I hate mispronouncing people's names. Even if they're okay with it, I still feel awkward as all get out about it, and I'll usually clam up. But I think I'm going to go on for about another 15 minutes and then get off of here. I need to take care of some home stuff, unfortunately. Got to adult today sometime, I guess. I don't want to. This has actually been pretty fun. I don't come out of my shell like this very often. I'm usually a lurker. We got that done the other day. That was Kevin's task, because I am usually at work. At the day job. Nah, I shouldn't say that. I like my day job. It's not what I thought I would be doing, but it's cool. I guess the big question to you, Migs, is how long has it been since you changed your car oil? Because that, if it's been a while, I may have to judge. I ain't going to lie. $5 months? Is that how long it's needed the oil change, or how long since you've done the last oil change? Oh, okay, okay. So that's not bad. That's not bad. Already adulted some this morning. I paid bills. I was very proud of myself. I've tried to avoid going to a lot of places since all this mess went down. And luckily my work isn't very far. We're talking maybe an 8-minute drive, give or take. But unfortunately, things that like Kevin needs, when he needs art supplies, there's nobody. This is such a small town. There is like literally no place to go unless he wants to work in Crayola. And so we'll have to drive roughly 30-45 minutes, and that's the closest to an art store we can get. And yeah, we could probably order it online, but both he and I are very bad at not realizing we need it until we need it, if you know what I'm saying. But I've tried to go at times. I think we played it fairly smart. We try to go at times when there's not a lot of traffic to those areas or to those stores in particular. And I think for most, I want to say for a good chunk, if not most of the time we've had to go out to these stores, we have literally been like the only people in there. And surprisingly, it's not really super late at night or close to closing either. It's just their downtime, I guess. Plus my dad, we take him out to buy groceries. Because he lives way back out to where he can't get them delivered. Nor do I think he would know how to get them delivered. So we'll take him out, and I make sure I have the hand sanitizer, and I make sure that everybody's wearing their mask like they should be doing. I'm not sure what your belief is on that mess, but I try to do all the things that I think logical to try to keep us safe when we're out and about. Not a whole lot really changed for us because we're not very well, we're not hosting parties or anything like that. We really don't entertain a lot of folks or anything like that, except online. Not saying we don't have friends or anything like that. We're just homebodies for the most part. Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think about that, trying to think of Kev. My dad's a diabetic. So to me, it just seems logical to wear the masks. It just seems logical to keep the hand sanitizer. It's people are getting sick. It looks like you would do things even if it turns out that they're not as effective. They are at least some effective and lessens that probability even more. And that's my line of thinking on it. I mean, if it lessens the possibility, why not do it? It's such a tiny little thing. But I argue with people all day at my day job about it. You would not believe some of the people that are just want to really get in your face about it. Yeah, same for me. I'm new to the glasses wearing myself. I just got those. I literally had to start wearing glasses like back in February. So not long before all this went down. So it took me I had a learning curve. It took me a while to get used to breathing through the masks because some days would be easier than others. I don't know if it's like claustrophobia. I've never had any issues before with things like that, but it seems like some days I would just have an extreme difficulty breathing through my reusable mask. And some days I even have difficulty breathing through paper masks. And I don't know what that's from exactly, but because it seems like it's very random that it occurs. My eyesight was 20/20 through most of school. And then I think in middle school, they said something was just slightly off, just very slightly. And they wanted me to start wearing glasses then. But my lenses, the prescription when we went to the eyeglass place to get it filled, the guy was like, "Are you serious? Because these lenses are so weak. It's basically like wearing sunglasses without the shade in them, And so I didn't do it then. And even now, my eyesight isn't that incredibly bad. Even the doctor this go around said that it's the corrective lenses are more to crisp things up than they are to help with any serious, not being able to see. And it's true. I mean, I can still read and write and all that stuff without the glasses. It just really crisps things up. And that's pretty much what I was going for, because I was seeing it in my artwork, and I was like, maybe this is the reason why I can't make that next step, is because my eyes aren't picking up that little bit of detail. And maybe that's why I'm not seeing an improvement. And I was like, what could it hurt, Now, I like my glasses. I actually think they improved my face a little bit, which is something I didn't think was possible. Shush, shush. Yeah, I'm running out of things to talk about. I don't know if you have any questions or anything. I'm getting close to being done with this, and I wish my blinds were doing a better job of blocking that sunlight. And my little streaming light isn't doing much to fix it. No, to me, it actually feels much more difficult to draw bigger. I don't even know how to go about explaining that. But it seems like when I try to draw, like Kevin's always been big. He actually has a hard time going smaller. And so he's got the opposite trouble that I do. When I try to draw bigger, nothing seems to be where it should be. I mean, it disproportionate. There we go. Nothing looks like it's in proportion to me. And a lot of times it's correct. And with all that space, it's like I don't know what to do with it all. Like I did a couple of big pieces. I had leftover comic paper that I've had forever, because I used to draw a lot of like fan fiction type stuff, and I would try to draw it because I was like, I've got to learn to draw on this. This is what the pros use. I need to learn how to draw like this. And it was just too much room for me. And when I first got in the trading card size, it was one of those things. We were at the art store. We were buying more supplies. I want to say Kevin was working on the Resident Evil book at that time. Maybe somewhere around in that area. And it was a whole new thing. Strathmore was coming out with trading card packs that you could buy. And you see them practically everywhere now, I think. But this was the first time I'd ever seen them. I'm like, hey! And I'm always up to trying new stuff. When I find something that piques my interest like that. So I bought a pack and I played around with them, and I played around with them. And Had some fun. They were all black and white because I think this was right before I really started getting into markers too. How funny is that? um, I left them out on my desk, and Kevin's told me, it's like, hey, you could probably do this. I was like, I don't know. I've always been chicken about submitting my artwork. And it was actually Kevin that submitted my first, I guess, bid at a gig at Upper Deck. He knew one of the editors. And next thing I know, I'm getting an email. And that's how I got my gig doing that, or doing these initially. And I've just been in my comfortable little happy place doing this ever since. I even I started as a painter, actually. My dad's a painter. And so I actually played around with a lot of stuff. And I once did a painting of a Native American village that was this big in acrylic. And my dad has that now. He's got that stuck to his wall. And but I like playing and trying different things. And my sketchbooks were always filled with small drawings. I don't think I ever really truly did anything bigger than, say, a 5x7 size. So I've always been small like this. Oh, come on, pen. And Kevin has been amazing to me. Back when I was a fan of his, because I actually met him getting his autograph at a convention on a couple of books that I got of his. And back in the day, I could pick out Kevin's style from everybody else on the rack. Because I think everybody back then was trying to draw like Jay Lee, or at least that's what it looked like to me. And Kevin just had his own uniqueness. And he's actually a really good teacher. And he's been helping me here and there work on anatomy, working on page composition. And I've been after him. I was like, you know, maybe if you did a stream doing tutorials, or not even a stream, just film some videos doing some tutorials, you know, it would be neat. That's why I don't think he can be as mean as Mike and them, because he's always been so sweet and so willing to help people that ask for it. I don't think he can bring himself to be mean to somebody's artwork. Is this still showing up so okay for you? Can you see the card okay? Oh, cool. There's an ill-placed window behind my drafting table. Just going in there. I use the jelly roll pen. I hear a lot of people use natural lighting like that, and they prefer it over lights, electric lights. Me, it's a nuisance. I'm just going in here and with this jelly roll and trying to add some highlights and pop the figure from the background a little bit. But these are cool. This one was a really nice one. It's a Pintail Milky Pop. That's one of my newest finds, but he's not wanting to behave today. When I first got him, he was working better than the jelly rolls, because the jelly rolls, to me, they seem like they pick up a little bit of that background color after a while. I've had some that clog up really bad on me. Trying to think of what else I can add in here. No bueno indeed. It's not necessarily a smear either. It's just bleed through, maybe would be a more accurate way of saying it. On some cards, I've seen it yellow a little bit. And some, like down here, if you look right here, you can see some of the green coming through. They're still fun. I remember when these things were the big thing, was it back in the 90s? And they came out with those notebooks filled with black paper, and I would drive my teachers nuts writing on black notebook paper with a white gel pen or some kind of neon frou-frou pen. But yeah, as I was saying about Kevin, he's been an awesome teacher to me. Awesome boyfriend. Awesome fiance. And we're both pig-headed. But he's got a passion about his artwork. He's put in the time to learn how things work, you know, just like on the muscles. And, you know, he'll go through and he'll start using the name for the muscles. And I'm just like, you're losing me, babe. I was like, and he'll take time and he'll explain it for me. And sometimes I like to mess with him a little bit. And I'll, like, one time, what was it? I had to draw this risque card set, and I was doing exposed breasts. And the nipples. Can I say that on YouTube? I couldn't get them to look right. They look like googly eyes on her chest. And I was like, Kevin, can you help me? And he just looked and he sighed and he's like, do I have to? Because he is not comfortable with drawing things like that a lot. And I was like, come on, babe, please. And he pulled out a piece of paper and he's like, all right. He goes, he laid it out for me, and this is how line them up and all this. And all of a sudden, here comes my son running into the room, and Kevin screamed this little yelp that, ah! It was turned into the fastest smiley face you ever saw in your life. The fastest, most artistic smiley face you ever saw in your life. But yeah, he's willing to help, even if it embarrasses him on some instances like that. And he's next to Eastman and Laird. He's always been my favorite artist, comic book wise. There's a few other artists I like, and I doubt a lot of people know him, like Drew Hayes, because I read a lot of indie comics. I wasn't into mainstream all that much, and that's actually how I met Kevin, was through some of his early indie comics. And so there's other artists like Drew Hayes, who did Poison Elves, which was a really good series. I was a fan of his, and his artwork was more stylistic, I guess you could say, than it was correct, like Kevin's. Kevin's definitely at the time, was the most realistic artist that I liked. And of course, Adam Hughes. Everybody knows Adam Hughes. I really like his stuff. Finch. Trying to think of some of my indie guys that I used to read a lot. Drew Hayes sticks out to me the most because he was my absolute favorite. I'd pick up Poison Elves all the time. And definitely Eastman and Laird. Can't pronounce his name either to save my life, but he drew Usagi Yojimbo. I actually met him. I've met Eastman and Laird too, thanks to Kevin taking me to cons with him. And that was like childhood bucket list, big time on that one. Who else was there? Yeah. She, right? He did She, if I'm thinking right. I met him once. I don't remember it being he was nice enough, but I may have been still in that phase where any criticism to my artwork was a personal blow. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I like the She books a lot. Razor Everett Hartso. I don't think he drew it. I think he may have been just the writer, but I like the Razor books pretty good. And Kevin drew those too, or some of those early on. And Lady Death. The sad thing is, my memory with names is terrible, so it's hard for me to. Hold on, let me pause. Yeah, I think I actually have that because I was heavy collecting the Razor series for the longest time. Um, I liked bloody and gory stuff, and I can't even explain that. I think it was growing up watching horror flicks with my dad because I was the only one in the house that would watch horror movies with dad. So blood and gore was my thing, and Razor was really bloody and gory back in the day. Dealt with a lot of heavy issues too. And so I like that. What else did I read? Razor, um, Ninja Turtles, of course. And they've had a lot of artists over the years that I really liked. One of the inkers I actually met that worked on the Ninja Turtle stuff was Andrew Peepoy, and he was an absolute doll baby to talk to. Yeah. So it wasn't just bad girl comics. I mean, if you read Poison Elves, that was about it was like a D&D universe. Hush. And it was an elf named Lucifer in that comic. And it wasn't like the big bad religious Lucifer. No, that wasn't the deal at all. His name was just Lucifer. And he was a down and out, basically a mercenary, and had I don't know how to explain it. The series just was hilarious. It had lots of dark humor, and that's me. Dark sense of humor, terrible sense of humor. Yeah, it was a long time ago. He passed away a few years ago, and haven't seen one of his books in ages, so I don't know if somebody took over for him or not. You could probably catch him at the comic conventions if we ever get to go back to those. Trying to think, a lot of the indies I bought were unfortunately one-shots because the only time I could get them were at conventions. None of the local stores around here carry them, and I don't even know if they submitted them to be carried. But yeah, I guess that does it. See if I can. It's hard to see with the sun shining right in my face when I'm looking at my computer. But yeah, that's my Bigfoot. Thank you. I'm not Kevin. I want to be. That was my initial draw to him because I'd come bug the snot out of him to get art lessons. And he actually didn't live too far from me back in the day. And he would hang out at a comic shop in the college town that's close to where we live now. And I'd go harass him at that comic shop constantly for art lessons, and still do. And yes, he didn't mean to turn this into a Kevin appreciation stream, but yeah, he's amazing. He is absolutely amazing. I knew it back from when I was just collecting, and I could pick his artwork out on the newsstand, and I would always, if I saw it, I would grab it, even when he went mainstream. And I didn't even collect that many mainstream books. I had my mainstream books, I think there was a total of 4 I would pick up weekly or monthly. And that would be Wolverine. And that was like the only Marvel book I'd pick up, but the occasional X-Men. And I would collect Catwoman, Robin, and the clone of Superman, Superboy. And anything else that when I would see his artwork, I would grab that too. So I have a lot of, guess you could say, just like one shots of other series, mismatch of other series. And it was mainly just because I liked his art style and I was trying to copy it, I guess. And that was the only source I had was other comics. And then going to bug him on the chance that I got to be in that area where the comic shop he hung out at was. And I go pick his brain. But yeah, there's been a lot of good folks that I've talked to over the years at cons. Mike Waringo was one of them. And I was sad to see him go. And because he was another one that was just really great to talk to at a comic convention. He was so sweet and so patient with me, aggravating the snot out of him, because I would hang out at an artist table for well over an hour just picking brains and fangirling and and who else was it? There was several people that I got to know, and it turns out Kevin was friends with them too, and it got to be just really cool to find that out. John Wycall, he's an inker. He's a damn talented inker. Steve Bird's another one. He's really good. And I would pick up their books too. And who else was it? I don't know. It's like I said, I'm running out of things to say. So if you have any other questions. But yeah, that's pretty much, I guess, all I'll get to. Maybe I'll come back on later tonight and do one of the other 2 cards I owe this guy. Providing nobody else is streaming. But I appreciate you coming and hanging out with me, Migs. I like chatting with you guys over on Mike's stream. And I appreciate it greatly. I want to break out of this bubble and I want to do this more and hopefully build up another group of friends to chit chat with online, and who knows. But I guess I'm going to log off now if there's nothing else you'd like to know. And like I said, maybe I'll hop on later after I adult some. Awesome. I'll try. If I do decide to do it, I'll try to post on Twitter and give everybody a heads up maybe an hour or so before I go on. If not, I'll catch you on Mike's stream or one of Kevin's streams if he ever streams anymore. Have a good one, man. Thank you.